All right, YouTube, what's going on? Today we are painting Nathan's Miata. So I came a little bit late and he's done all the prep work. But next what we're gonna do is rub some alcohol on it, I guess. But Nathan will explain the rest.
All right, so we have our base coat right here. It's gonna be a midnight purple. As you can see, is that doppel on top. But base coat, and then you're gonna have a reducer, and that's gonna make your paint more viscous to flow out of your gun easier. Then we have our clear coat, and then we have hardeners for the clear coat. And then we're gonna wipe it down really quick. We have our wax and grease remover. So you just take a waffle weave or a tight weave microfiber. We're just gonna wipe it down and then wipe another microfiber to dry it. And then right before we spray on our base coat, we're gonna put a tack rag, which we have right here. And what this is, it's like a waxy microfiber, so it's gonna pick up any particles that are on the paint, so there's not gonna be any imperfections. Whenever you buy paints and clear coats, they're gonna give you a printout of the specs on it. So this is the base coat, acrylic base coat. It's acrylic urethane. So it says what it could be applied over, what it could be top coated with, what reducer, the color, all that stuff. The mixing ratio is important, so this is a 1-to-1. The second page, it's gonna say how many coats you should do, 2 to 3. And then your gun PSI, most guns are HVLP. So this is 8 to 10 at the cap. You can't really measure that, so we're gonna go by this one, 29 to 40 PSI. So right here, I have my pressure regulator. So when I'm spraying, I'm gonna have an air line into this, and I'm just gonna give it some air. And I'm gonna adjust this probably to like 32. And then on here, it says the dry times. So it says between coats, 5 to 10 minutes at 70 degrees. So it's around like 65 in here. I'm probably just gonna run it at 10 minutes because it's a little humid out. Air dry, when to remove the tape after 45 minutes, and then when to clear coat after your base coat. It says 20 minutes minimum or 24 hours maximum. So we'll probably do like 40 minutes or 45 minutes. Then just to clean your gun. On the clear coat, same thing. What it is, the clear, the hardener, reducer if you want the reducer. Just depends. If it's cold out, you might want a little bit of a heavier reducer or a slower reducer if it's colder. Be applied over what kind of base coats, acrylic base coat, which is what we have. The ratio is 4 to 1, and then an optional reducer if you want, which is 0.5. Pot life, once you mix the hardener with the clear coat, is going to be 1.5 hours at 70 degrees. It's the same air pressure to the gun. How many coats? These ones you want to do heavier coats than the base coat because you're not going to see the runs as much, and you can sand them out, and it'll give it a deep, wet, glossy appearance. 2 to 5 minutes between coats. We're probably going to wait 5 minutes because it's colder. 8 times. Then you have your force dry, like if you have fans on it, how long it should take to dry, and when to polish it. So if you air dry it, it says to polish it after like 3 to 4 hours, probably 4 hours for us. And then if you wanted to do a recoat, it's 4 to 6 hours. And then just clean up, and that's about it. Using one of our waffle weaves, we're gonna soak it, wipe it, and then probably Quest or me is gonna follow behind and then just dry it up a little bit, and then let the floodlights dry it by heat. So yeah, this is just to disinfect the surface and get any wax that would prevent the paint from sticking, or silicone, or anything really, grease.
I don't know if you guys saw it or if I even got a clip, but we put the alcohol on the car and waffle weaved it off. Now we're gonna paint. We just had some pizza, now we're ready to paint.
Yeah, you just want to use, when you're doing the wax and grease remover, you just want to use lint-free cloth. So tight weave microfibers like waffle weave are really good for that. So we just use like these red ones. But yeah, now we're ready to put on the base coat. We're just gonna put on gloves and then my respirator, and we're gonna take a tack rag, and what that's gonna do is remove all the particles, and then mix up the paint, and then we're ready. Quest is gonna be mixing it and filtering it, and then I'll be spraying it. So yeah, we're gonna spray at like 33 PSI. The recommended was 28 to 40. So this is just gonna remove all the sanding dust that we did on it. Don't want to ruffle up any of the tape. See the color for the first time.
Yeah. So guys, for the base coat, we're doing a 1-to-1 ratio. So what I'm gonna do is pour the actual paint to the number 4. I don't know if you guys can see it really well. To number 4 right there. and then the reducer to the second floor that is right there. I don't really know if you can see it on camera, but this is the first coat done.
Oh, fuck, it smells.
It doesn't really look like the midnight purple, but it does. You can see the flake a
It's
lot.
just one coat.
Yeah, that's just the first coat. Now we wait 10 minutes. So what are you doing, Nathan?
So I touched the paint when it was wet, and then also it was clumping up a little bit. So I'm just taking a 1500 grit and I'm just sanding it down so it's smooth. But the barn isn't really a clean room, so there's some dust on it, but this isn't meant to be a pro finish. So I'm just trying to get it as good as I can in here. Usually you want to wet sand with this, but it's fine. It's just I'm gonna have to respray this area. This is my first coat though, so it doesn't really matter, but if it was your last coat, you would want to respray it so the metallic flakes line up. Yeah, I'm trying to make this smooth.
So this is after the second coat, this right here, and this side. So it's really hard to tell the difference in the purple and the red because they're very, very similar, and it's like very hard to try to mask it, but if you don't see it in the dark, you can see the flake in there. Looks good in the clear coat. So he's saying 3 coats. I think we're gonna do 4 to 5 light coats, but he knows better than I do. Yeah, you can kind of see it better this way.
Alright guys, this is 3 coats. I don't know if you can hear me in this mask. Good. Look at that. Look at that.
What's going on, guys? This is the 4th coat without thinner because we ran out.
But now we got some.
We got some more though. Hey, pretty fucking sick ass you got.
Alright, and then turn it. Alright, turn it. Shine it back to you. Perfect. Let's go.
So guys, I'm gonna have you mix up the paint. Last bit that we got, just for the closest ratio you can get it to. I'll mix it with one. Does the color look pretty uniform?
Alright guys, so we're putting the first coat of clear coat on, and look at that. You can see the difference in the clear coat and the non-clear coat right there. Alright guys, this is after the second clear coat. Look at that. So it's supposed to be a midnight purple, but it's kind of looking like a dark paint. You know? I mean, without the light, it looks purple. You know, when you got the light on it, it looks pink. So here is before. Sit overnight probably before we wet sand and try to get the orange peels out of the clear coat. And then polish it after we wet sand. Yeah, it looks really good for Nathan's first painting.
Alright guys, so it's probably like a week later from the last clip that you just saw me. I just got home and Nathan pulled up with the Miata Complete, and I just gotta say, Nathan, the looks fire. Look at this. Holy this looks dope.
I still need to wet sand it.
Doesn't even look like that, dude.
Yeah. Still, fitment is on point.
Hell yeah. The white wheels complement it so much.
I know. Oh, and I don't know if I showed you the valve cover gasket. I polished it too.
Really?
Yeah. Like when it's clean, it's shiny. And then I did the exhaust, the heat cover, the heat shield on it. So.
Damn. Alright guys, so we got all the whips together. Bam, bam, bam.
Told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT. Busting all the bells out the body.